Good evening and welcome back to our weekly question and answer series for anash.org. Let me begin with a follow-up regarding we spoke last week regarding eating cake in the end of a saуда לקינוח, not to get filled, just to for a snack. So we mentioned a couple of ways when you could make a bracha, and you should make a bracha. Just wanted to add on, which Rabbi Michael Gurari from Australia mentioned, that if it's a belila it's lakach, it's belila, that means if you have a cake which was made through a batter, it's not from a dough, only a belila, and you eat it for a snack in the end of the Suda, that's also lakila alma, that you make a borim in a mazoinus before eating, even it's in the middle of the Suda. Another follow-up for last week. Last week we mentioned regarding making a bracha שהחיינו on fruits which we have all year round. So the question was, what does one do with a שהחיינו for their birthday, for the Yom Haledas, which the Rebbe said that you should have something to make a שהחיינו. And the solution for that is, if it is a time which you have for sure some kind of fruits which is new, for instance, winter we don't have peaches, you don't have plums. So once your ladies in a time when the new product of peaches and plums gets available, so then you can make a שהחיינו in, because that's for sure something new and you don't have it all year round. So there are some fruits, some time of the year which you can make a bracha. But when a person has Yom Haledas in other times, the solution will be to make on a beged chodesh. A beged chodesh, you buy something once a year, you should buy a beged chodesh. That means, which is choshuv, because if you buy pants, which people buy, often, you don't make a שהחיינו. It's no simcha. But if you buy a kapata or a sertuk or something, a package, a silk package, etc., or something which is you have some kind of simcha, or a people who doesn't buy every year new jacket and suit, and they buy a new jacket and suit, they should make the שהחיינו for their birthday on beged chodesh, because beged chodesh there's a simcha and you do make a שהחיינו or a nutalas, etc. Question: can one make esrig jelly with the esrogim that were used for mifzuam and were probably touched by people that did not wash negelwasser? And the answer is yes, you could make esrig jelly from that kind of esrogim. First of all, you don't eat the other layer of the esrog. That means you don't eat the klippa. So therefore, since you peel the esrog, there's no problem that somebody touched the fruit without negelwasser. That's number one. Number two, we mentioned the previous shirim that food which a person which did not wash negelwasser touched is the eved, it's not osir. Avada yesh machmiram and chsidim an shamasse, some were machmar, aber halacha de b'shem brura and the ktesa shilchan write clearly the bezman hazeh the meaning is lehukel and it doesn't get osir. The eved, the same thing will be in a nice shiva in Shal Shiva's Keladuvet Siman Aleph, which has a whole long bitter, and he supports the minik to be Michael. So therefore, if befrat by a fruit which you take off the klippa, you peel it, there shouldn't be any problem of eating esrig jelly, which was made by Yidden which benched Esrig without Nagelwasser. Question: does tuna need to be Bishul Yisruel? The answer to this question is some kashrus organizations rely on some kind of killers and hatayram, and they're more lenient. And the reason why they're more lenient is because they hold that since the tuna, once they catch the tuna, they smoke it with some kind of steam in order they should be able to ship it. It shouldn't get spoiled. So they are considering this to be already ruah to eat, and therefore, since it was already ruah to eat, even though afterwards in the company the goyim are cooking it, they want to be Michael, but lamaisa the minik from all kashrus organizations, the Chareidische kashrus organizations, especially the Chassidish organizations, is to be machmar. And this is how Moshe Sternbach writes in his Sefer Orches Abayis Umad Ein Hai, that you should be machmar, and he has all kind of explanations why you should be machmar, and there is Bishul Akim. And the same also Harav Avadia and his Alichas Oilem Chalik Zayin Umad Kif Ches. So therefore, yes, tuna should be used only by a company which is makbed am Bishul Yisroel, befrat b'chassidische Yidden, that should be a inyan to be machmar on it. Question: why do we not eat before going to the oil? Furthermore, if I accidentally ate, am I still allowed to go? The Rebbe writes in a letter in Tovshin Yid, which is published in Igros Kodesh Chali Gimel Umad Reish Ein Tes, which the Rebbe writes, I heard from my shver that before you go to the oil, you don't eat, but you drink. And basically, the poskim write already about this, not to eat before going to a Besekvoris. We see in Elav Amugen, which is a parish of Matafraim, Simetuf Kif Pai Aleph, Sifkut and Kif Tes. He writes already that he brings the minig, Yesh Nahagim, that you don't eat or drink before you go to Beis HaKvoros. But we do drink. The reason why we drink is because the Chazal say there's a posik v'doirish ala maisim, and Chazal darshan, that's a person who hungers himself and he goes to the Beis HaKvoros. So therefore, since we don't want to be in that category and be over of the Isur v'drisha ala maisim, which the Gemara says means a person who goes in Beis HaKvoros when he's hungry, so therefore we eat something or we drink something. So we drink, that's why we drink, in order not to go when you're fasting in the Beis HaKvoros. But Ma'amar HaMizger, in Sefer Moed Kol Chai, from Chaim Palaji, he writes, that's only regular when you go to the Beis HaKvoros. But if a person goes to Beis HaKvoros, let's say he has the yortzeit on a parent and he's fasting that day, he could go to the Beis HaKvoros even though he's fasting. But regularly when we go to Beis HaKvoros, we don't go when you are fasting. That's why the Rebbe writes, we don't eat, but you drink. Now, the question which he followed up, if I accidentally ate, am I still allowed to go? In Yemai Baraishis, in Omar 236, there's a story that the Rebbe once asked one of the Talmidim, Tamimim, which ate before going to the oil, and the Rebbe told him, Arachmonas of dir. And there's also a saying which the Rebbe said once for Arav Shnai Zalman Gurari, es is Arachmonas of the kinder, was man nimmt sie auf an oil, noch ein Essen, was farachinich is dus. That means it's Arachmonas, it's a pity for the children, which people take their children to the oil to the Rebbe after they ate. What kind of chinuch is it? So we see there's a strong dugish not to eat before to going to the oil. Now there's a story which I don't know if it's true, but we can all ask, that the Rebbe once asked Rabbi Yoel, the Choizer of the Rebbe, and like Boimer, if he ate, and he said he ate, so the Rebbe says, so you can't go to the oil. So we see, if you ate, you should not go to the oil. But we have to realize that what does it mean eating? The Rebbe said once for Rav Gurari, as we mentioned before, Jimmy Gurari, that he was a person which was a little bit schwach, and the Rebbe told him that before you go to oil, you could eat like a banana or some kind of fruit. So we see, and not mezoinus or hamoitzi. So if a person ate a full meal, no, he shouldn't go to the oil. But if a person feels hungry and he will not be able to go to the oil, so the Rebbe said you could eat a banana or fruits or a little bit of nuts or maybe a piece of chocolate. The Rebbe's Meshamash Shulmber Gansberg writes a story which the Rebbe used to drink tea with milk before he went to the oil. So once the Rebbetzin asked the Rebbe he should eat something, and the Rebbe ate a piece of cake, but it was smaller than the shear of Bruch Achroina. This is what Shlomo Gansberg writes in Makodesh Penima 19. So over here we see the Rebbe did eat some kind of mezoinus, but less than a Bruch Achroina, which is not considered eating. But for Rav Zalman Gerari, the Rebbe said that you should eat like a banana, fruit, and not mezoinus. So again, why do we eat? Why don't we eat? That's already miskine poiskem. Why we drink or eat something is in order not to go fasting, totally fasting to the oil. If a person is shvach and needs to eat something, he should eat something very light. Or if you must eat a piece of cake, it shouldn't be a kazayis, that you shouldn't have to make a Baruch HaChroina. Next question. Follow up to the question before. If I'm going at night, the not eating starts from the shkia. The answer is, this is what I heard. I did not find any mikor. I could hear this svara, but I didn't see any mikor mismach which writes clearly that if you go at night and you didn't eat from the shkia, that's fine. Question. When is the latest time to say Tehillim? Also, what about saying Tehillim Friday night and for a choile or for shedicha? The minig of Kabbalah that you don't learn mikra balayla, and that goes not to learn chimish, to say Tehillim, to read Tanakh. The reason is steht in the Sifra Kabbalah, because at night it's a zman of dinam, and mikra is basiya, which is also din. So therefore we all learn anything which has with Tanakh, but at night. The poskim bring already that in the Chazal we see that already. In the Medrash says, when Moshe Rabbeinu was up in heaven to take the Torah, when did he know when it's day or night? When the Rabbeinu Shalom learned with him Mikra, he knew it was by day, and when he learned with him Torah Shebal Peh, he knew it's night. So we see already that at night you didn't learn Torah Sheba B'Ksav. Now, this is only till Chatzois. Some Baram Mekabolim will say it's all night, but most of the Mekabolim, and that's also the minig of Chabad, the Rebbe writes clearly that it's only till Chatzos, because the Zman Dinim is only till Chatzos. And after Chatzos, you could say Tehillim, even though it's night. From when does it start? In Shal Shivas Ma Yehuda, Arachaim Simach of Bais, the same is it's brought also Mitzela Chochma. It is only from at night and not from Ben Hashmoshes. The din starts only from at night and not from Ben Hashmoshes. We see some kind of diak also in the Rebbe's words. And it starts from at night. So till at night, till Tzesek Chuvim, which the Tzesek Chuvim you keep, till then you could say Tehillim. and from then till Chatzois, you don't say Tilam. Regarding Friday night, Bepashtus Amekabulam is Friday night, there's no problem. But in Minik Chabad is that you don't say Tilam even Friday night. We know the Rebbe writes in Sefer HaMenugim Chabad, it's based on the letter of the Rebbe, that at night we don't say Tilam except Rosh Hashanah, Aseres Imai Tshiva, Yom Kippur, and Hoshana Rabbah. And even Hoshana Rabbah, when we say the Tilam B'tzibur, it's only after Chatzois, but that's not because we don't say Mikra Balayla, because we do say Mishnah Torah at night. That's a separate thing. But Akapunim, so the Rebbe writes only Rosh Hashanah, says in my Tshiva, and Yom Kippur, Hoshana Rabbah, and doesn't mention Shabbos. So Minik Chabad is that you don't say Tilam even Shabbos. If you have a choile, that's only a choile b'fanayim. That means a person which is sick, you do say Tilam. If you have a person which, let's say, is now sick and needs now the yeshia, that means he's going into surgery or he's chas v'sholom into the accident or whatever, then you say Tilam. But just generally, to saying Tilam for sick people, we don't do that. For shadichim, we don't say Tilam at night. Question. While preparing food for Shabbos and Yom Tov, is it okay to taste the food to make sure it is seasoned correctly before hearing Kiddush? And the answer to this question is, if you don't swallow it and you spit it out, you could taste it, feel the taste. And it's based on the Mungan of Rome, and Simar Aishain Allah Sifkut Nahai, which the Mungan of Rome writes, a person is permitted to wash his mouth with water before Kiddush if he doesn't swallow it. So we say as long as you don't swallow it, it's not considered eating or drinking, and therefore tasting something and spitting it out just to see if it has salt or seasoning, it shouldn't be a problem before Kiddush. Question. Regarding marshmallows containing fish gelatin, is it okay to eat with milk? How about with meat? This is a discussion which I wrote once, a lengthy discussion, a lengthy article in our journal, Oris Rule, regarding there's a yogurt which is called Swiss Smooth Yogurt. And over there it has fish gelatin. And it's together with milk. So the question is, could you eat the fish gelatin with milk? Now, the Bes Yosef in Yeridai Sima Paizain writes, you don't eat fish with milk, because it's a skona, as mavir, as written in Arachayim Simakif Aingimel. Now, the Darke Moshe on the spot writes, we never saw people should be makped on it. Number one. Number two, the Bes Yosef refers us to Arachayim Simakif Aingimel. Over there, it doesn't say you shouldn't eat milk with fish. It only say you shouldn't eat fish with meat, but fish with milk doesn't say. So basically, the Remu holds that there's no problem to me makpet. The same will also go to the Prisha over there, and the Taz and the Shach and Mugan Vruam and Hashem Kif Ein Gimel. All of them writes that you are permitted to eat fish with milk, and it's a mistake. The Bes Yosef means fish with meat, but not fish with milk. The Rebbe in Shar Aluch Menig and Shilch Menachem writes the Isser to eat fish with milk from a schooner which the Bes Yosef reminds. A lot of poskim hold it is a mistake, but b'chol zois nishur mezeh. That means we are still makbed on it, but it means only with milk, direct with milk. That means you don't eat fish with milk. But if you put it in the milk, if you mix it with butter or sour cream, there is no problem. This is what the Rebbe writes, b'shem the tzemach tzedek. So again, according to Minik Chabad, you could eat fish with milk product, but if you eat fish together with milk, you should mix it together with a little bit of butter or sour cream, and then you could eat it. So going back to your question, if you could eat marshmallows that has fish gelatin with milk, yes, you could eat it, but that's already called mixed together, because the fish gelatin is mixed, and it's not pure fish and milk, so there shouldn't be any problem. Second of all, it is bottled b'shishim. As we know, the Shach and the Kids case of Simekif Tezayin holds that even a thing which is awesome at Tzadskuna is also bottled b'shishim, and that's most of the poskim agree with the Shach. So therefore, there's no problem eating this marshmallow together with milk. Now the question, if you can also eat it, how about eating with meat? Even with meat, you could be lenient, because again, as I mentioned before, the gelatin goes through a process and it's bottled b'shishim, and the Shach holds whenever it's bottled b'shishim, there's no skana, so you could be lenient to eat the marshmallow together with meat. But with milk, it's much easier, because the whole fish and milk is, the poskim do not agree. Question: is there any reason to prohibit using a glow-in-the-dark toy on Shabbos? A very popular question. Lately there's a lot of toys which glow in the dark. Can you let your children play with it on Shabbos? The answer is there's no problem to using it, since you don't do anything. It glows automatically through the paint, the color. You don't make anything, it should glow. So therefore, there is no problem that you should use and let children play with toys which glow in the dark. Okay, we're going to stop here, and please join us next week again, and send in the questions to inbox@anash.org. I also apologize for all the people who wrote in and I couldn't get to the questions, but in Yetz Hashem we're going to get to them in the near future. Good night and have a wonderful week.